It is. It's a real part of the community. And you're a really big part of the community.
Thank you very much.
You haven't lived in Saratoga, but boy, there's nobody who doesn't know you.
Well, and that actually was calculated. When I married Phil Hyde in 88 or 9, we had a discussion about where to live. He had just bought a house in Woodside. I lived in Los Gatos. But there were issues with living with Los Gatos. Like, I'd get up in the morning and in my pajamas, open the door to get the newspaper, back when we all took newspapers, and there would be a kid sitting on my porch. Can I talk to you? It's like, can I get dressed? So I was a little too close. So then we talked about, should we move to Saratoga? And he said, well, we'll move up into the hills. And I said, they'll find us. So the decision was made to move to Woodside. It really, my kids don't think of, in fact, my kids don't think of Woodside as home. My daughter wrote in her college essay, I have 2 addresses. So I think we sleep there, although we have had occasions where we've slept here. Yeah. In the office, in the team room. It's kind of been all over the place. And I know Mac plans an end of the year event where the drama kids will sleep here, so we can close off the kind of the circle.
Yes.
You know, we do live here.
Yes.
So
I have 2 stories, 2 Hunter boy stories. I could come up with about 50. But the first one was my oldest son, Jeff. He was all set to go to a dance, and the girl backed out at the last minute, and he was devastated, and he came home, and he had 2 tickets to the Lakers or something like that, and to a basketball game. And you had given him those tickets because you felt so bad for him. And sure enough, he went off with his father, and they had the most wonderful time. And my other one, my second son, had forgotten his college application, called you up at home.
Los Gatos.
Yes. Yes. At maybe 10 o'clock at night, because he had to get it in right away. So you came over in your bathrobe and slippers and opened the school up for him.
With a flashlight.
With a flashlight.
Yes.
Opened the school up for him, and he went to his locker and got his application.
I remember it well.
But there are so many stories like that. You were just so incredibly caring.
That's what you do when you love kids.
Yeah.
I think people say, you had been suggesting that we do this for a while, and I have been hesitant, reticent, because I believe that everybody should do that. And if every teacher did this, what a wonderful experience all kids would have.
Yeah.
So I have grave fears that my son Mac will end up a teacher, only because he will
I think it's wonderful.
He will spend, well, he's here now, but he would spend as many, if not more, hours than I have. So blessedly, my daughter, it's only blessedly for students that she's not going to be a teacher, but she will spend as many hours because that's what we do.
There is no more rewarding profession in my book than being a teacher. I was only a teacher for 2 years, but I heard from the kids for many years afterwards. And the idea of watching, I mean, the child that you had when he was 16 years old is about to turn 47, I guess, at this point. So
to me, he'll always be 16.
Well, it's just unbelievable that the years have gone by like this. But let me talk. For a while, I sat outside your office and helped out with attendance.
I remember that.
All the volunteers, yes, you were pregnant and everything was going on with you. But the one that I remember, at one point, we were sitting there and there was a girl moaning and groaning in the little health office. And there was somebody else who had a cut and we were trying to fix them up. And all of a sudden your walkie-talkie goes and they say, somebody's choking. And you got out of a wheelchair within seconds and took off. It was like a flash of light. You took off, and I said, well, does she have to do that too? Oh, yes, she's the only one who can do CPR, and she can do all that, so she gets all those chores too. So, I mean, you were quite an extraordinary force in the school.
Well, in my past life, I was never going to be a teacher. I was going to go into medicine. So what I did is I got a master's degree in public health and realized, having worked in 3 clinics, this was, you had to do an internship, that I didn't do well with sick people. You couldn't affect change. I liked when I could work with kids, but I didn't like working with the adults. And I thought, this is wrong. So I then quickly applied and got a teaching credential, and fell in love. And it was like, it made sense for the public health thing because then I could help sick kids. So I think there was a greater plan than mine, let me tell you.
What did you teach?
When I started teaching, I taught science. So biology, I was doing many things. So it was biology, chemistry, general science, but those were the days when you could teach anything. So sometimes you'd get a call, "Hi, this is the vice principal, and this year you'll be teaching math."
Yes.
Or this year you'll be teaching PE. My minor was in English. They were bright enough not to have me do that. But with my master's degree, I taught over at De Anza College, initially 2 nights a week, and then when I came here, I could only do 1, and then I couldn't do that at all. But that was a wonderful experience as well. Teaching health, how to not die young, stress reduction back in the era of when you really could kind of make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that was with kids, and that was the public health side, but it was also being able to deal with kids, not having to deal with adults who I couldn't move.
Mm-hmm.
So teaching became a passion.
So what was your favorite year? When did you have the most fun?
You know, I think I have fun every year because there must be something within that. I've never really grown up. There must be a Peter Pan syndrome.
Oh, I think so too.
Yes. And when I first started here, maybe not the first year, but probably the second, when we started doing things like dress-up days and the staff got involved, and the kids were involved, and we weren't as hyper-focused on going to college, the next step, not doing school, but enjoying school. Those were extraordinary years. And it isn't that I don't enjoy or didn't enjoy what I did the last few, but the mindset of our culture, and it's not just the Saratoga culture, it's pervasive, about the mandate of everybody goes to college and then now everyone goes to graduate school, has colored the focus of students in high school. It truly has. And students, I think often they do things because they know it looks good on a resume, not because it's from the heart. So but I think if I went back to the earlier years, everything was fun.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even know how, my boys even say that. They don't know how they'd survive today in high school. It's so much tougher. And applying to so many schools and then, oh my goodness, it's very, very hard. It's very hard on the kids.
It's hyper competitive. The colleges drive the high schools, so we know that there aren't many more colleges than there were when your boys went here.
Yeah.
But there are more students going to college, so it's more competitive. And I went to Davis. I couldn't get into Davis if I bought a library today. They'd laugh at me. So I don't know how you make it different. I know students, we try to work with them about being more thoughtful about where you need to go. You don't need to graduate from Stanford to be successful.